our top focus continues to remain on Uttarakhand. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to inaugurate Kartavya Bhavan 3 at Kartavya Path in the national capital. In fact, we have some chilling details coming in as far as Uttarakhand's story is concerned. That massive cloudburst that triggered the massive landslide. Monsoon fury continues to wreak havoc in Uttarakhand. A short while back, Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, Pushkar Singh Dhami, set off for Uttarkashi to take stock of the situation. The Chief Minister has been continually monitoring the situation via video conferencing.
अरे बाप रे
Ongi road toward Bhatwari village is on the verge of collapse is what we have been given to understand. Around 150 meters of road has been washed away near Bhatwari, cutting off the access. Vehicles have been stuck in the debris ahead of Plasda Chowki near Plasda amid continuous heavy rainfall in the area as well. Rescue teams of the ITBP, SDF and NDRF as well as ambulances are stranded at the moment with no contact is what we have been given to understand. The minimum contact that they have is also likely to be lost at any given time. Disaster struck the Himalayan village of Dharali and Suki in Uttarakhand yesterday. This is when a devastating cloudburst led to flash floods and landslides, sweeping away homes, hotels and lives. This was not a single cloudburst, it was a twin cloudburst that triggered this massive landslide. Large-scale rescue operations are currently underway on a war footing. Continuous efforts are being made to rescue those who are possibly stranded under the debris. The State Emergency Operations Centre has also requested the Indian Air Force to deploy 2 Mi helicopters and 1 Chinook helicopter. 2 helicopters of the UCADA are also ready for rescue operations. At Kheergarh near Dharali, Colonel Harshvardhan of the Indian Army is personally leading 150 Indian Army personnel in critical rescue efforts, even as their own unit remains cut off and around 10 soldiers are feared missing. Meanwhile, we have been given to understand that in a first-of-its-kind move, the National Disaster Response Force is deploying cadaver dogs to the Uttarkashi Cloudburst site. These specially trained dogs are being airlifted from Delhi to help locate bodies trapped beneath mud and debris, offering closure to families still searching for their loved ones. So far, unfortunately, 5 deaths have been reported, while 130 have been rescued, with many feared trapped when flash floods tore through Dharali, sweeping away homes, vehicles and trees. The SDRF is also on the ground, while paramedics and advanced rescue squads are also set to join very soon. In view of the ongoing crisis, the state government has ordered all schools and Anganwadi centers shut across Almora, Pithoragarh, Chamoli and Rudraprayag. And on the Haridwar-Dehradun rail route, a boulder blocked tracks near Motichur, but thanks to protective structures by the Northern Railways, no casualties occurred. Restoration work is now underway. The region battered by rain, a rescue effort racing against time, and the resilience of India's forces once again on full display. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Union Ministers Amit Shah and Rajnath Singh have also assured all kind of help. Union Home Minister also spoke to State's Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami yesterday. The Prime Minister said no stone will be left unturned and rescue operations are currently underway on war footing. Former Executive Director, National Institute of Disaster Management, Dr. Satyendra is joining us on the broadcast. Thank you so much for speaking to News 9. So you have seen the devastating visuals that have come in here straight from ground zero. What are your thoughts about it, sir? Is it man-made? Is this Should we call it a natural calamity? What might have triggered this? Sir, I believe you are on mute. Yes, now I can hear you. So please continue.
Yeah. It is not something new in Uttarakhand. Earlier also many disasters are there. And in 2003, we can remember that there was a devastating disaster that was called Tsunami of Himalaya. Then in 2021 also, a major disaster was there in Chamoli when this glacial lake outburst was there. But unfortunately, we are not learning from the lessons which a disaster leave behind. It is, of course, a natural phenomena is there. Cloudburst is a natural phenomena, but it is intensified and its frequency and intensity increased due to climate change. That is a fact the scientists say. But even then, we are not following the rules and regulations. Of course, our disaster response team is best in the world. We have National Disaster Response Forces there, which has worked in several countries and is of extraordinary strength. But our preparedness, our risk assessment, our mitigations, our rule implementations, they are not up to mark. So we have to work on that. Earlier also in 2001, when I was director of National Institute of Disaster Management, we carried out an extensive research after 2013 disaster, and there were many recommendations made. The first recommendation was that control of construction work in river zone and nearby area. That is, river zone regulations, act and rules are already there, but they are not being implemented. As we are seeing in the present case also, most of the hotels and residence and stay homes are constructed within that river zone. That is a very dangerous area. So that type of things are need to be considered. Then second is that risk assessment must be there. They must be thoroughly, and we should use scientific, artificial intelligence, remote sensing, and other things that which are the areas which are very dangerous to such type of activities. Because this is a river zone, river water will come. Nobody can stop water coming from such rivers. So the first thing is that we should know that which are the dangerous area, which are the area where this type of threat is there. Then we have to carry out the research and other things also, that what type of construction should be there, if construction is necessary, whether it is a disaster response, disaster resistant construction or not. And last is our response and preparedness, whether we were prepared for that, such type of incidences. So all these things, or these 4 points which I mentioned, needs to be taken care so that we can reduce the risk of such disasters. In disaster management, we say if we spend 1 rupee or $1 on such type of preparedness, mitigations, and preventive measures, certainly we can save $7, 7 times. Now you see that after such type of disasters, what type of recovery measures will be there, what type of reconstructions will be there, what type of relief will be there. So all this is very expensive. So we have to look for the things that is before the disaster. So before the disasters, unfortunately, our things are not up to mark. So that needs to be taken care, and only then we can reduce the risk, and only then we can prevent such type of disasters.
Absolutely. Dr. Satyendra very correctly mentioned, but despite of, having some sort of precautions, practicing that, knowing that you are living in a sensitive zone, such incidents have become very frequent in past couple of years. What exactly is the reason, and how can one protect it? Is there any damage control that can still be done?
There are basically three reasons which I mentioned, and again I will repeat that. The first is that illegal construction. Construction is such type of area which are very prone to disaster. Second is pressure of tourism, because the carrying capacity, Himalaya is a very young mountain. It is still uprising, and so many constructions are being carried out. That is due to tourism pressure, because that is the livelihood of the people. That is, of course, a development is there. We can't stop development. Development is must, but that development should be sustainable development, taking into considerations all the geology, all the ecology, all the environment that is there in Himalaya, because Himalaya is not an ordinary area. It is very sensitive, ecologically very sensitive zone, and still Himalaya is rising. So such type of constructions, and the second is the road construction is also a major problem, because whatever roads, we can't stop making roads, because roads are very important for the development and for security point of view. But these roads which are being constructed are not taking into consideration the local geology and ecology. That should be taken care. One research and in 2013, which we carried out at NIDM, that 1 kilometer of road construction in such sensitive, ecological sensitive area generates 60,000 cubic feet of debris. And where this debris goes, there's no management, proper management of this debris. This debris goes to the river bed only. And this is obstructing water flow. This is creating a number of other problems also. So such type of things are very necessary. The third thing that we carried out while working for the 2000 Uttarakhand disaster, that was hydropower plants in such areas, because this area is ecologically very, very sensitive. So in such type of area, such type of plants are basically to invite a disaster in the future. So such type of things, if we carry out, we control the tourism, if we carry out, if we construct the roads, taking into consideration all these ecological things, and ban on illegal constructions uh, for such type of mega plants, mega power plants, that is very, very important, because all these recommendations were made earlier also, and many scientists have said. Now, this due to climate change is also making many problems in this area, because cloudbursts have become so frequent nowadays. And this incident also, people say, and scientists say, due to due to this cloudburst, and climate change is one of the major phenomena increasing the intensity and frequency of cloudburst.
Absolutely, Dr. Satyendra, but these incidents are very sudden. It does not come with any kind of prior warning, right? So how can local communities be better prepared or better educated or better trained in such cases?
Of course, you are very right that the first responder after a disaster is community. Whenever there is a disaster, the community have to respond. And for the community strengthening, certainly Uttarakhand disaster and central government, the National Disaster Management Authority, their National Institute of Disaster Management is there. They are working. So basically, these local communities should be trained, right, because such type of disaster is there, how we can respond immediately, because the golden hour, we say in disaster, there is golden hour just after disaster. So just after disaster, we can't immediately get response from NDRF, SDRF, or police, and etc. So community, local community, panchayat level also, these people have to be trained, and we have to train the community also. We have to equip them various resources which can be used for rescue and relief operations, and we have to train them for immediate response. That is very, very important. And such type of, we have a scheme and National Disaster Management Authority, that is Abda Mitra. So under Abda Mitra, this State Disaster Response Force and other forces and State Disaster Management Authority, they are working. And they have, of course, there's no doubt they have trained the people, but this type of mega disasters, we immediately need to, our priority should be prevention also. Of course, response we are doing better. It is a very, very good response we are having from all the forces. We are having NDRF, SDRF, armies there, police there, so many forces are there. But of course, the things come there that how we can prevent such type of disasters. Such type of disasters can be prevented only if we take into consideration the ecology, environment, and other things into developmental aspects of our all these activities which are being carried out. So these three things are to be taken care.
Absolutely. Dr. Satyendra, in such cases, in such incidents, we are not only speaking about the loss of lives here, or human lives, if I can say, but we are also speaking about a heavy damage that has been caused to the entire demography, or if we can speak about the livestock in this case as well. Now, an imbalance has been created with regards to the restoration or bringing back that balance. How difficult would that be to maintain the balance in the ecology in the area?
Of course, that is, disasters are not having immediate response. These immediate response are loss of life and property, and infrastructures are damaged, but it has long-term impact also. Long-term impact is on the livelihood of the people. The livelihood of the people which are living here, that mostly depends on agriculture, depends on tourism, depends on other type of this constructions works and developmental works. So that will certainly be adversely affected, because ecology, now you see that environment and ecology and the river, that will change its course. Now river will not flow in the old course, it will form a new course there. So there devastation will be there. Then, of course, so many plantations or so many trees have been uprooted. That is also one of the major damage. Then third is the livelihood of the people, because now people which are having livelihood, particularly on tourism and agriculture, that is also going to be adversely affected. And the livelihood earning people, I mean, the head of the family, that if unfortunately killed, that is also going to have a adverse impact. Then in addition to this, there may be some type of diseases may also spread, because so many contamination is there in the drinking water. Air may also get polluted. Such type of contamination will be there, that can have health implications on the health of the people. So these type of things are there. Then livelihood, of course, which I mentioned, that is going to be a major threat, because nowadays uh, most of the disasters are having adverse impact on the livelihood of the people. So this livelihood also, and then compensation, and because we have to compensate all these, this reconstruction is there, then compensation for the people who are injured, or compensation for the people who have been unfortunately killed. So all this compensation is not a small amount. It will be in crores of rupees. So this type of damage is really having a devastating impact on the economy, environment, and ecology and livelihood of the people.
Absolutely. Dr. Satyendra, uh, like I said before, these kind of incidents are almost unpredictable. You cannot say when a cloud is going to burst and it is going to trigger a flash flood that will come with landslides. But mountain areas nowadays have become extremely, extremely sensitive. But it was never inhospitable. People have been living there for years with such incidents only, coming with increasing intensity and also higher amount of number. Can we say that it's an alarm bell for something bigger coming our way?
Yeah, of course, it's alarming because we are not learning from the lessons which earlier disasters have left behind. Each disaster is there, it is leaving behind a number of lessons that needs to be learned. But unfortunately, all these recommendations which expert committee make, which our scientists make, they are not taken proper considerations by the policymakers. There may be, so there is a need for a political will to stop such type of things, such type of devastation, devastating developmental activities. Development, we can't say that development should not be there. Development must be there. Development is the right of the people there. But this development should be sustainable development, taking into considerations all the aspects, all the ecology, all the sensitivity, ecological sensitivity of the area. That is very, very much required in such type of areas which are not similar to our plain area. They are uprising, Himalayas and uprising. And then you mentioned about early warning. Early warning, of course, early warning for cloud burst till date is not possible, but it can be, because we have so many scientific things are there, so many scientific research has to be carried out. So at least we can identify the areas which are vulnerable. Like here, if I am seeing in the video that all these constructions are in a area which is very much known to everybody, know that this area is going to be disaster affected any time. So such type of identification of areas where such type of things can happen, that is very, very important. So this identification of the vulnerable area, then what rules and regulations are there, that is to be implemented. And for implementations of rules, which are the agencies which will take into consideration, then the people participation is also important, because we have to make the people aware. People are not aware whether this area is a disaster prone, whether this area will have such type of devastation in the future. So we have to take into consideration the people aspect also. People are to be taken into confidence. So that is very, very important. And last but not least, we have to make the people prepared for such type of disaster. So unfortunately, anything can happen anywhere. Such type of things happen, but we have to make them, we have to strengthen them, we have to capacitate them, we have to make aware them, we have to think of our new scientific approaches, what are there, what type of early warnings are there. This Doppler radar is there that can give up to some extent early warning of such type of disasters to some extent. So that is also then major threat is some scientists are saying that this disaster is not due to cloud burst, it is due to some growth, that is glacial lake outburst. So we have to, that is also a major threat in Himalayan regions, because due to climate change, the glaciers are retreating, they are melting, and they are forming artificial lakes. And such type of lakes are there are many lakes in upper Himalayas, so which can any time be breached. And if such breaching is there, such type of damage is there in such type of artificially formed lakes due to this glacial melting, that can also lead to a major disaster. So we have to prepare. It is not the only disaster. In the future also such type of maybe major disaster than this disaster will be happening in Himalayan regions. So we have to be prepared for all these things, and we have to work for all these four aspects, that is of the disaster management. We have to find out the risk assessment is there. We have to make our rules and regulations strictly implemented. We can need to form new rules and regulations also. And there must be restrictions on the tourism pressure, because this carrying capacity of Himalaya is not so much. It is not thousands of tourists are going, and they are staying in all these stay homes and luxury hotels, multi-storied buildings. In earlier, you must have seen in Uttarakhand, such type of the constructions was not there.
Yes.
All the constructions, if we see the old constructions, we see the old temples, we see they are earthquake resistant, they are disaster resistant. But now these constructions are ignoring all these things. So that is there. And then, of course, the last but not the least, the research and scientist things should be taken into considerations while development being carried out in such type of areas.
Absolutely. Dr. Satyendra, something very critical that you have highlighted is about the early signs here. Like we have already mentioned that we cannot predict such incidents, but what are the early signs that you have just said that can be noticed and can be taken into note so that we keep ourselves protected in such conditions?
For this cloud burst, still unfortunately we don't have this much science is there, as much research is there. But other science may be there, like this, because in Himalayas, whenever the cloud burst, the basic science behind cloud burst is the temperature. When temperature rises suddenly, then these clouds, they start rising upward, and when they rose up.
बाद वो पहुंच पाएंगी वहां पर, और हमारी 60 लोग 2 टीमें वहां पर एयरपोर्ट पर ही मौजूद हैं।
सर, स्टैंड बाई में कुछ टीम को रखा गया है?
जी बिल्कुल, स्टैंड बाई में हमारी टीम पंतनगर में, गौचर में और जोशीमठ में भी मौजूद हैं। जैसे ही अगर मौसम खुलेगा और सिचुएशन ऐसी रहेगी, ज़रूरत पड़ेगी एडिशनल टीम्स की, तो उनको भेजा जाएगा।
कितनी टीम्स आपकी अभी जो है वो रास्ते में हैं, और कितने
So that was the presser by NDRF speaking about the incident and the number of teams that they have deployed in multiple parts around Uttarkashi for the rescue operations. Our guest, Dr. Satyendra, continues to stay on with us on the broadcast. Sir, you were highlighting the fact about early signs that can be noted in such cases. So, can you please continue?
Yeah, no, for landslides and other things, certainly we can predict that landslide will be there. But for cloudburst, unfortunately, till date, we don't have any signs for that early warning of cloudburst. But for landslides and other things, we have all these, this GIS is there, this drone technologies are there. So we have to use such type of technology in such areas. And then we have to measure that what is the threat, because from GIS and from all these technologies, we can know that what are the threats there, which glacial lakes are there which can be breached. So such type of things are to be carried out 24 hours so that we can know where the threat is there, where disasters or breaching of such type of lakes can be there. So that research is also need to be carried out, and then we have to be deco this I don't
150 लोगों को सुरक्षित स्थानों पर पहुंचाया गया है। अभी जो इंफॉर्मेशन आ रही है कि 4 डेड अभी रिकवरी हुई है और 100 से ज़्यादा लोग बताए जा रहे हैं कि हताहत हो सकते हैं, मिसिंग हैं। तो अभी ये कंफर्म न्यूज़ अभी आई नहीं है। एसडीएमए से और स्थानीय प्रशासन से कंफर्म न्यूज़ अभी अवेटेड है।
कैसे एयरलिफ्ट कराया जा रहा है, कैसे जो लोग बचाए जा रहे हैं उनको कैसे हॉस्पिटल पहुंचाया जा रहा है, क्या सुविधा?
इस सब की स्थापना वहाँ पर की गई है। लोकल रिसोर्सेज के माध्यम से वहाँ पर आर्मी है, आईटीबीपी है और उनका जो भी वहाँ पर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है उसको वहाँ पर क्रिएट किया गया है और लोगों को इंश्योर किया जा रहा है कि लोग सुरक्षित स्थान पर रहें ताकि अगर कोई सेकेंडरी ऐसा सिचुएशन होता है तो वहाँ पर वो हताहत ना हो।
कितनी टीमें अभी वर्किंग हैं वहाँ पे और किस तरह की दिक्कतें झेलनी पड़ रही हैं?
एनडीआरएफ की अभी 3 टीमें रास्ते में हैं। वो क्योंकि रोड बाधित है और उसमें अभी रिपेयर चल रहा है। जैसे ही वो क्लियर होगा तो हम वहाँ पहुँच पाएंगे।
हमारे साथ इस वक्त मौजूद हैं एनडीआरएफ।
That was DIG Operations NDRF again speaking about the damage that has been caused. He has confirmed that 4 deaths have been reported, over 100 people have been rescued so far. He said that the operations got stuck a little bit. They are facing some difficulties because of the landslide, but they are making all possible efforts to clear the way to rescue as many people as they can. Cutting across live again to more visuals coming in from the presser.
घटना हुई है जहां पर हर्षिल में और सुकी टॉप में इन 2 जगहों पर भी फ्लैश फ्लड हुआ है। हर्षिल में आर्मी के करीब 11 जवान मिसिंग बताए जा रहे हैं। हालांकि सुकी टॉप में कोई लोग हताहत नहीं हुए हैं। इसको लेकर के जो एनडीआरएफ की टीम है 3 टीमों को उत्तरकाशी से रवाना किया गया है। जो हाईवे है ऋषिकेश उत्तरकाशी वो बाधित है। कई जगहों पर लैंडस्लाइड हुआ है जिसके वजह से मूवमेंट जो है वो बहुत स्लो हो रहा है। वहाँ पर रिपेयर का काम चल रहा है और उस वजह से टीमों को पहुँचने में थोड़ी देरी हो रही है। इसके अलावा हमारे जो टीमें हैं वो देहरादून में भी एयरलिफ्ट के लिए तैयार हैं। इनफैक्ट अभी थोड़ी देर पहले उन्हें एयरलिफ्ट की कोशिश भी की गई मगर ख़राब मौसम के कारण टीम को वापस लाया गया और अभी ये प्रक्रिया जारी है। तो मुझे उम्मीद है कि जैसे ही मौसम खुलेगा तो ये कार्रवाई आगे जारी रहेगी। एक सिचुएशन वहाँ पर जो ग्राउंड में है वहाँ पर जो आर्मी की टीम्स हैं, आईटीबीपी हैं, एसडीआरएफ हैं, स्थानीय प्रशासन हैं, वो कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं। हमें जो सूचना मिली है उसमें तकरीबन 150 लोगों को सुरक्षित स्थानों पर पहुँचाया गया है और रिलीफ कैंप्स भी स्थापित किए जा रहे हैं। एक लेक फॉर्मेशन हुआ है चूँकि ये मक और जो फ्लैश फ्लड आया है उसकी वजह से एक लेक फॉर्मेशन हो गया था वहाँ पर। उसमें कुछ पानी भर आया था मगर फिलहाल बताया जा रहा है कि वो अभी सुरक्षित है, उसमें पानी का निकास हो रहा है, इसलिए कोई चिंता की बात नहीं है। एनडीआरएफ की टीम अभी लगातार समन्वय बनाए रखी है और जैसे ही हम वहाँ पहुँचेंगे ये आकलन क्या करके पूरी जो सिचुएशन है उसको देखते हुए एक समन्वय के साथ कार्रवाई की जाएगी। धन्यवाद।
सर वहाँ पे भी कोई सेंटर बनाया गया है जो हम सामने देख रहे हैं स्क्रीन?
DIG Operations, NDRF, speaking about the dire situation at the moment. He said that the situation continues to remain volatile because of the extreme weather conditions. The teams are wishing for a better weather so that they can make way to the people who are still feared to be trapped under the debris, awaiting to be rescued. He has confirmed that 4 deaths have been reported, over 100 people have been rescued so far. He also said that around 11 army personnel are feared missing. They are making all possible efforts to identify them and also rescue them. He said the efforts were made to airlift as well. The airlifting efforts were also made. He also spoke about the kind of destruction that has been caused. Multiple roads broken, multiple landslide reported across many parts of Uttarakhand. On such visual being played on your screen as well, you can see the condition of the road there. to massive rocks there on the road as well. Apart from that, you can see a part of road completely collapsing to the river current. The SDRF and NDRF teams are making all possible efforts to rescue as many people as they can. Another visual coming up on your screen showing you a traveler stuck in the debris along with his vehicle. Now this is the exact moment. These are the visuals from yesterday when the massive cloudburst, the twin cloudburst happened that triggered severe flash flooding in Uttarkashi. You can sense the amount of destruction that followed. Multiple structures collapsed, turned into rubble. Multiple lives lost. 4 lives being lost has been confirmed. Rescue operations are still underway. We are continuously flashing the emergency number that has been issued by the authorities as well. If you know anybody who might have got stuck there, if you're asking for help, you can dial that number that has been released by the authorities. The officials have released that number. We are continuously flashing it for the viewers who have just joined us here on News 9. Our guest Dr. Satyendra continues to stay on with us on the broadcast. Sir, my apologies for interrupting you again over there. We had the live press conference coming in by DIG Operations. He was explaining the kind of damage that has been caused and of course giving us the details with regards to the rescue operations. Sir, speaking about that, I have another question for you. I wanted to ask you, sir, after this incident, what can actually come for the people who are still living there? Since we just heard DIG Operations NDRF, he said the situation continues to remain very volatile. The weather conditions are still extreme.
The first priority of the government and local administrations and of the community must be their resettlement of these people and the livelihood restoration of such the people who have been affected. Of course, the immediate need is rescue, relief, and of course, giving treatment to the people who are injured. But we have to think in the long term also, because while resettlement of such people and restoration of their livelihood becomes very, very complicated things in such type of things. So that planning needs to be done. And then, of course, we have to learn the lessons, what lessons this disaster is leaving behind, and whether such type of thing can happen in other parts of the this Uttarakhand or other Himalayan states, we have such type of incidents in Himachal Pradesh also, in other parts also of Himalaya, such type of incidents can occur. So these lessons are to be taken into consideration. Say research and study should be carried out in such type of after such type of incident. I'd like to show you a report that was after Uttarakhand disaster 2013. This report is must be visible to everybody. And this report was a very comprehensive report after 2013, and so many recommendations were made. And one major recommendation that was there, that was disaster impact assessment. We have till date, whatever developmental activities or mega projects are there, whether it is road constructions, whether it is hydropower, uh, these constructions are there. So we are only carrying out environmental impact assessment, but we have to take into consideration the disaster impact assessment also. That is very, very important. Our Honorable Supreme Court has also instructed after 2013 that there are more than 70 such type of hydropower plants are there. So what happens and what were our observations whenever this muck or mud is removed or the rocks are removed while constructing such type of hydropower plants, that is left behind. Not proper management is carrying out of such type of things. So certainly these type of things, these type of lessons we have to learn, and that can be done only after a comprehensive study. And then, of course, our scientists and administration that have to work in a very coordinated manner. Unfortunately, the problem in our disaster management system, because I have been working in the field of disaster management for the last 30, 40 years. So my observation is that coordination mechanism is not there proper. There must be coordination mechanism between scientific research institutes, capacity building institutes, and of course the admission. That proper coordination is very much required. Only then we can think of. Then of course, after 2001, Gujarat earthquake, in our disaster management, we say that one priority is there that after disaster, that is building better than the earlier one. How we can reconstruct or rehabilitate our people in such a way so that this type of disasters don't have much impact on the community, on the environment, on ecology. And this example is in Gujarat earthquake. After Gujarat earthquake, Bhuj earthquake, if we go there and visit the Gujarat, that region that was affected in 2001, our reconstruction is earthquake resistant. All the reconstruction in Bhuj areas are 90% earthquake resistant. So that is one of the best example we have to take into consideration, and that is in a safer zone also. So these type of things are to be taken into consideration. And of course, rehabilitation and recovery is a major problem. We have to think of the funding and other things and development, or whatever developmental activities will be carried out after such type of devastations. We have to take into considerations the ecology, the environment, and the vulnerability of that area. And of course, community preparedness is very, very important. At the community level, we have to strengthen, we have to capacitate the people so that they can think of and they can be prepared for any type of disasters in the future. And one very important thing which I mentioned earlier also is check on the tourism. Of course, that is a very tourist attractive places, religious places are there, char dhams are there. So all these are very, very important, but certainly we have to think of the people also, we have to think of the community also, we have to think of the environment also, we have to think of the life of the people also. So taking into consideration, my humble request to the administration is there must be some check on the tourist pressure on this area, because this region is not so strong, not so, carrying capacity of this region is not up to that mark, so that it can take the burden of tourism. So big number of tourists on its way.
Absolutely. Dr. Satyendra, I'll request you to please stay on with me on broadcast. We have a reaction coming in from Brigadier Mandeep Dillon. He has spoken about the rescue efforts. Let's listen in.
At about 13:45 hours, a mudslide and an avalanche struck village Tharali, which is around 4 kilometers north of Harsil, along the Gangotri axis. Indian Army column, being the closest in Harsil camp, was the first to respond and reach the location within 10 minutes of the incident. Rescue operations are underway. Until now, around 20 people have been rescued, of which those who are injured are receiving treatment in the battalion MID. Unfortunately, sometime after that, the mudslide and cloudburst also struck the Indian Army camp and portion of our rescue columns. Despite the same, the Indian Army is resolute in its endeavor to carry out rescue operations and assist the local populace. At about 13:45 hours,